Hi everybody, Mr. Yurko here, and we are going to go ahead and work hard on figuring out how to make this lamp design you see here. So in this activity, we're creating a custom light design. Uh, we're going to go ahead and work from a drawing. So we're going to the working on creating the battery box in our lesson activity. So we're going to make this battery box and the lid that goes with it. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and download the detailed drawing by clicking on the link, and then we're going to open that up when it pops up. You can see our drawings that pop up for us. A couple of important details to know about our drawings. These are PDF documents, so you can scroll through them to see them. You can zoom in and out, click on the plus sign here, and you can move around the page using the bars on the bottom and the side. These are nice and clear documents, so you can see everything as you zoom in. It doesn't get pixelated, and that's really helpful. So these drawings are going to be our instructions for creating this part. So first, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and do the first part of the battery box. First, the lid. So you can see the battery box has a lid, and of course the battery box has the battery holder. What the heck does this look like over in CAD? Well, here's a 3D model of our assembled product. And when it's all said and done, you'll have created your own custom design for the light shade. And then you will have created a light bulb to put in it. That's an LED bulb. The lid, which you can see here, base plate, the battery box. And if you want to, you can go ahead and create the batteries. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to demonstrate how to create this battery box. First thing we need to do is go ahead inside of our dimensioning document. We're going to hit the plus sign on the bottom left hand side corner. We're going to create a new part studio. And we're going to roll back over to our drawing to get an idea of what we're looking for. Now, looking at our object, we can see it's a rectangular block. It's got a hollowed out section in the middle. And if we check our dimensions, you'll see a wall thickness here of 60 thousandths. And come on over and check the other wall thickness of 60 thousandths. So we can say that's pretty consistent. Taking a look at the wall thickness here in our section view, you can see it's also 60 thousandths. So that means we'll be able to shell that. So we're going to create this block to the specifications on this drawing. We're going to shell it using our shell tool. So let's see. Let's go ahead and start by creating a block. And what do we need to do to create a block? Well, we're going to start a sketch. We're going to start a sketch. Let's go ahead and start a sketch on the top plane. And I'm going to turn my planes off by tapping the P key on my keyboard so I don't have to stare at them all day long. So here we are. You can see we're in the top plane, which is evident in our view cube. And I'm going to go ahead and look straight down on this from above by tapping the N key, N as in Nancy, normal on the keyboard. And we're going to go ahead and create the rectangular opening for or rectangular outline for the box. Use the center point rectangle so we can go from the center point of our origin workspace. Of course, we need to know what the measurements are, so let's check our dimensions. Let's see. So we have a symmetrical part here. And you can see that because there's a center line and then only half the measurement provided. You got a center line here. Center line is telling you that this object is symmetrical. We have a dimension from the center to 1.3 inches, so all the way across will be twice that, so 2.6 inches all the way across. And the height of the lid is 1.45 inches, so 2.3 by 1.45. We'll go ahead and apply dimensions. Getting our dimension tool right up here. And we got 2.6. inches by 1.45. There you have it. There's our first phase in the project. And we now need to hit that finish sketch button and extrude that. How far do we need to extrude that face? Click in the space, then check our extrusion depth. And what are we looking at here? So we want to extrude the entire thickness of the whole object, the 650 thousandths. We're going to extrude just the base part. Well, it's probably easier to create a rectangular prism and then extrude a cylinder out of it than it is to create a block of that size and extrude that backwards down, leaving the cylinder. So let's go with the 350 thousandths dimension as our first extrusion. So we'll just type in 350 thousandths. And we're just going to rename that main body. It's good to name your features, because as your models get more complicated, it's pretty easy to get lost. So you got a main body there. And let's go ahead and hollow that out. So the inside of that, we figured out earlier. As we look at our top view drawings and our section views, we can see that we have a dimension here of 60 thousandths measuring the wall thickness on this side. Follow the wall up on the other side, you can see that's also 60 thousandths. And if we take a look at it in the section view, you can see 60 thousandths. So what we need to do now is rotate up a little bit by right-clicking on your mouse and dragging up slightly. And then we're going to use our shell tool to hollow out that bottom to the dimension of 60 thousandths. 0.060. And now you can see there's our hollowed out box for the lid of our battery box. And we're going to go ahead and continue. So what do we want to do next? So what other features are there? Well, we have this divider sticking up in the middle. We have a cylinder sticking out with a hole in it. And we have this lip on the inside. Let's do that lip last, because that's going to be in our way if we do it now. Let's do the cylinder. That looks like it'd probably be the easiest thing to do next. We just need to know what the outer diameter is and the inner diameter. So we've got two circles, 180 thousandths and 300 thousandths, and they are appear to be centered. So yeah, we're centered here and we're centered here. So let's go ahead and draw those. So we're going to create them right on top. So hit our sketch tool, click right on top of the part, view normal to it. Then we'll take our circle tool. And since we started on the origin at the beginning, we can go right back to origin now. If we had started somewhere else, we can just find our midpoints by hovering over them. You can see that that square pops up, and you can see the blue midpoint constraint icon showing up next to my cursor. You can see it, same thing's going to happen here. So I could just kind of trace those over until we get to the point where the midpoint is shown in both lines. But since we did our first line, our first rectangle from the origin, I have the origins already at the midpoint. So click and release. Click, and remember there were two circles. One was 300 thousandths, so decimal point 300, enter, and add another circle from the same center point. And so long as that box, just a little quick tip here, is as long as that box, the dimension box you see, is still white, you can just type a value. If I were to escape right now and want to come in and add a dimension later, then I want to use my dimension tool. So dismiss that. Select the dimension tool or type the letter D on your keyboard and click and release on that edge of the circle. And what did we say that? So it wasn't 188, it was 180. So 180 thousandths. So decimal point 180. And there you have it. There's the inner part of the extrusion, the outer part of the extrusion. Let's see how far we're going to extrude out. And we can find that measurement is going to look best in our right side view. So we can see that we're going, the dimension is given from the bottom of the box. We're going to have to do a little math here. So if it's from the bottom of the box to the highest point of the box, the top of our cylinder is 650 thousandths, and the thickness of the box is, or the depth of the box is 350 thousandths. So, well, with an overall depth of 650, a partial depth of 350, that means the leftover is 300. So we just come in and type an extrusion value. Yeah, we're going to pick our extrusion tool, pick that ring, create an extrusion of 300 thousandths. And for the sake of keeping things organized, I'm going to call this lamp post, since that's going to be the post that holds up our lamp. All right, getting pretty close there. Looks like my inner circle didn't go all the way through. Well, that's an easy fix. I don't need to redraw anything. I'm just going to turn that circle back on. And then we'll hit the extrude button. Click that inner circle. Hit the remove button. And for a distance, we're just going to choose through all. There we go. Awesome. And we're just going to put that, we're just going to call that hole. Call it hole for wires. All right, awesome. Looking pretty good. Let's see what else we need to add. We have two more features we're going to pay attention to. We've got a little divider wall. Pops up just a little bit. And we have this lip that hooks in. Let's go with the divider wall because that's the innermost part. If we do the lip again, that'll be in our way. So what do we know about that old divider wall? Let's see. We follow our extension line. We can see that we have a width of 50 thousandths. It appears to be centered and symmetric, and nothing else is provided. So we're going to just go off what it looks like. Well, let's go ahead back to the box, rotate this thing upside down, looking at it from the bottom, and go ahead and create a new sketch on that surface. So things we knew about it appear to be centered, so we use that center point rectangle tool. Find our center again, and come on out, not to the edge. We said that we had a width of 50 thousandths. So we're going to pop in 50 thousandths with our dimension tool. So click and release, and click and type in 50 thousandths. So 0.050. And with the escape tool, right click escape dimension. Let's drag that point out a little further. Make it look kind of like the first one. So that looks pretty close, but there's a break in the middle. So let's go ahead and make that symmetrical. So we're just going to use that center point rectangle again. And then take our trim tool to cut off the extra material. And how does that look? We'll probably go a little further and call that good enough. And are we given a depth for the extrusion? No, we're not given a depth. So we'll just kind of go up. Well, we can compare it. That's about 50 thousandths there. So we'll go with 50 thousandths. So we're going to hit the extrude button again and click our two areas we want to extrude. And they appear to be about the same as the others. It would be better if we had a measurement, but we don't. We have to just compare. Decimal point 0.050. And we'll just call that divider. And there you have it. There's our box, lid. We just need that one last feature, was that lip. Let's see. Lip goes all the way across. And let's find some dimensions on it. There's no dimensions on this side. We can find the width of the lip is 110 thousandths all the way across. And we can find the height of the lip is 50 thousandths. So what that's going to wind up looking like for us, it's going to wind up looking like a rectangle. Let's draw the rectangle. A rectangle on one of these faces. So click and release on that. And this time we're going to need a corner rectangle, the letter G, like keyboard shortcut G. We're going to grab that corner rectangle. And here is our corner. Click and release. And go on down. I'm going to make sure that we don't snap to a midpoint or anything. We just want to make sure we are getting on this line on both sides, but not accidentally clicking the midpoint. Otherwise, we're going to have some trouble. All right. There it is. What is the height dimension? Height dimension, again, 50 thousandths. So let's rotate that beast around. There you go. And we're going to measure the height of that. So from the bottom to the top, 0.50. Oh, looks like I screwed up. Not 0.50, 0.050. So just double click on the dimension tool and hit the 0.050. Now enter, and you can see the change made. And hopefully you've noticed by this point, when we create sketches, if they are fully constrained, that means they can't be changed anymore. All the lines in the sketch turn black. So if you're doing this right, you should see a bunch of black lines while you're creating the sketches. And then we're going to extrude that to create little locking lips so this thing stays together. And how far does that extrude? So we've got a total of 110 thousandths. But that includes our wall thickness right here. So we don't want to draw on the wall and then go back 110 thousandths. This is where we're starting. So the total thickness, including the original 60 thousandths, is 110. So 110 minus 60 makes 50 thousandths. Let's go ahead and type in 50. 0.050. And we're just going to call that lip. There we have it. There's our final product. Awesome. And if we check all our measurements, it should match. We're going to go ahead right now. If you feel like it, now's a good time to go ahead and change your colors. Hit that. That's not the right tool. We're down to the part. Let's rename that part and call it lamp base or lid. Let's call it battery box lid. Now we have a part, battery box lid, And we're going to edit the appearance so we can make it look like we want to. Get a better idea what the final product's going to look like when we're done. So pick yourself a color that you like and hit that green check. There's your part. All right, so stay tuned. In another video, we'll go ahead and make the other components. We'll make the battery box base and do the assemblies. Just a quick recap of what we did today. First, we created a sketch of the outline of the part. We did that on our top view. Then we extruded that to the thickness we measured, so 35 hundredths of an inch. It's shown here. We created a shell of the bottom of the box lid to a thickness of 6 hundredths of an inch. 6 hundredths of an inch. Then we drew a sketch on the surface of the top of the box and added 2 circles that were centered on the box. The inner circle is 18 hundredths and the outer circle is 3 hundredths. 0.30 outer, 0.18 inner. And we extruded that lamppost a distance of 3 hundredths of an inch, or 3 tenths of an inch, 0.3. And then when we were done with that, we needed to make sure we punched a hole in the box. So we just turned our extrusion or sketch back on so we could see it. And it did another extrusion, popping it through. Finally, we get to adding the details on the underside of the box, where we used our rectangle tool. We actually used our center point rectangle to create a long, skinny rectangle to serve as our dividing line. And then we trimmed up the length to make it look a little better. Of course, we extruded that divider just about a little bit, and we used 5 thousandths, or not 5 thousandths, 5 hundredths, 0.50 to figure out how far that was going. And we just guessed at that measurement because you can see the height of that divider wall is described right here, and there's no dimension. So the best thing we could do, given there wasn't a dimension, was to compare it to other known dimensions and give it the same measurement. So this measurement here is 50 thousandths. They're about the same height, so we just made that 50 thousandths. Then we did the same thing for our estimate distance away from the wall. We extruded that. Now we have a battery box with the lamp post. The last thing to do was add this lip, which we were successfully able to do by drawing a rectangle at the top of here and giving it the dimensions shown in the drawing, which were, well, all the way across, and the width, the location all the way at the top of the box here, or the bottom of the ring, depending on which perspective you're looking at it. And then we extruded that 5 thousandths of an inch, 5 hundredths. I keep saying 5 thousandths, 5 hundredths, 0.05. And there you have it. There's a finished box ready for printing. Have an awesome day.